Hana is laughing joyfully with friends in a vibrant, sunlit cafe. Her face is animated, her energy infectious. She leans in excitedly to whisper a juicy secret to the friend next to her. As her lips move to form the words, instead of invisible sound, a thin, dark, oily wisp of smoke curls out. It doesn't dissipate into the air. It quickly coalesces into a heavier, soot-like cloud that hovers menacingly for a second before settling onto her own shoulders like a physical weight. Her smile falters slightly as she feels the sudden, unexplained heaviness, but she shakes it off and continues talking, tragically unaware of the accumulating burden. Hana is holding court at a bustling university campus cafe, the undisputed queen of her social circle. Sunlight streams gloriously through large industrial windows, illuminating the warm, golden amber hues of her stylish hijab and patterned tunic. She gestures animatedly with her hands as she recounts a funny story, mimicking voices and expressions perfectly. Her friends gather tightly around her, laughing heartily, their faces reflecting her infectious, high-spirited energy. The atmosphere is vibrant, joyful, and filled with the comforting hum of conversation and clinking coffee cups. Hana feels a genuine rush of pleasure from being the one who connects the group and brings the laughter. She loves the feeling of belonging, of being in the know, and sharing information that cements her status. Her phone lies on the table, buzzing occasionally with more messages and notifications, further fueling her sense of social connectivity. In this moment, her words seem completely harmless to her, just necessary fuel for fun and bonding. She feels light, popular, and deeply embedded in her community. The colors around her are bright, warm, and welcoming, accurately reflecting her perceived social success and happiness. She is blissfully unaware of the subtle, dark shift that is about to occur in the nature of her conversations. The conversation takes a subtle, almost unperceptible turn as the group huddles closer together conspiratorially. Hana's voice drops dramatically to a hushed whisper, her brown eyes widening with feigned shock and excitement. She begins to share a juicy, verified piece of private information about someone not present. As the first damaging words leave her mouth, the camera focuses intently on her lips. A faint, almost imperceptible wisp of dark, charcoal-colored smoke begins to curl out with each whispered sentence. It's subtle at first, easily missed in the lively atmosphere of the cafe. Her friends lean in further, eager to hear the forbidden gossip. Their expressions a complex mix of curiosity, judgment, and excitement. Hana feels a temporary, addictive thrill, a sense of power in holding this exclusive, damaging information. The warm lighting in the cafe seems to dim very slightly around their specific table, casting faint, cool, unnatural shadows that weren't there before. The vibrant energy of the previous moment is replaced by a thicker, more charged and negative atmosphere. The dark wisps of smoke start to drift slowly upwards, pooling silently like a storm cloud above their heads, unnoticed by the group, but clearly visible to the viewer as the first physical manifestation of the sin of Gheebah. A few days later, Hana is at a different social gathering, this time a cozy dinner party at a friend's house. The setting is intimate, with warm lamps casting a soft glow and rich food on the table. Hana is once again in the middle of telling a story, her voice slightly louder and more confident now. She is sharing another piece of gossip, adding her own dramatic embellishments and opinions for effect. With every sentence she speaks, the dark smoke issuing from her mouth grows significantly thicker and more voluminous. It no longer just drifts harmlessly. It billows downwards heavily, curling around her neck and shoulders like a dark, ethereal scarf made of shadows. The other guests are listening. Some are laughing heartily, while others look slightly uncomfortable or shift in their seats. Yet no one says anything to stop her flow of words. The warm, inviting glow of the room is now visibly tainted and dimmed by the presence of this accumulating dark cloud. The air feels heavier, charged with the sticky, negative energy of her backbiting. Hana is so caught up in the performance of the moment that she completely fails to notice the physical manifestation of her actions. The smoke is now a persistent, undeniable presence, a visual representation of the spiritual toxicity she is actively spreading in that space. While Hana is speaking and laughing at the dinner party, the scene briefly cuts away to a completely different location. We see the innocent person Hana is currently gossiping about, a young woman named Lila. Lila is sitting alone in her own room, looking inexplicably sad, burdened, and anxious. A faint, dark shadow, identical in color, texture, and oppressive feel to the smoke from Hana's mouth, seems to be hovering persistently directly over Lila. It casts a pall over her otherwise bright and cheerful room, dimming its colors. Lila rubs her neck absent-mindedly, as if feeling a sudden, unexplained chill or a physical weight pressing down on her, completely unaware of its distant source. This powerful visual connection illustrates the unseen, devastating spiritual impact of Gheebah. Hana's words are not just vanishing harmlessly into thin air. They are traveling across space to affect another person's soul and well-being directly. The stark contrast between Hana's animated, thoughtless storytelling and Lila's quiet, undeserved suffering emphasizes the profound injustice and harm of backbiting. The dark smoke connects them, invisibly but undeniably, a toxic link forged solely by Hana's thoughtless tongue. It shows clearly that the sin of gossip always has a direct, albeit unseen, victim who bears the brunt of the negative energy. The dark smoke connects them invisibly but undeniably, a toxic link forged solely by Hana's thoughtless tongue. It shows clearly that the sin of gossip always has a direct, albeit unseen, victim who bears the brunt of the negative energy. Hana is walking home alone later that night after the dinner party has ended. The streetlights cast long, stretching shadows across the pavement. The dark cloud of smoke that has been accumulating steadily around her shoulders all evening has now solidified into a dense, heavy, soot-like mantle. It looks almost like a physical garment of darkness. She walks with a slight, noticeable stoop, her usual energetic, bouncing stride replaced by a weary, heavily burdened gait. She constantly rolls her shoulders in discomfort and rubs her neck, trying in vain to alleviate a physical heaviness she cannot rationally explain. Her face, usually bright with laughter and energy, now looks deeply tired, strained, and drained of vitality. The vibrant golden amber color of her hijab now seems dulled and muted by the dark weight resting oppressively upon it. The city sounds around her seem muffled and distant, as if she is enveloped in a personal, isolating fog of her own making. She stops for a moment to look at her reflection in a dark shop window, but the lighting is too dim to see the dark burden clearly. She just feels an oppressive, suffocating weight that seems to be pressing down on her chest, making it increasingly harder to breathe freely and deeply. The spiritual burden of her unguarded words has manifested as a physical reality. The next day, Hana is in her room, trying unsuccessfully to study for an upcoming exam. The room is decorated in her usual cheerful, vibrant style, but the atmosphere feels heavy, stagnant, and oppressive today. The dark, suit-like mantle on her shoulders is still there, a constant, inescapable presence pressing her down. She tries to focus on her textbooks, but her mind is foggy, restless, and unable to concentrate. The usual bright sparkle in her warm brown eyes is completely gone, replaced by a dull, flat, anxious look of unease. She feels a sense of inexplicable guilt and gnawing anxiety that she cannot pinpoint. She picks up her phone automatically to scroll through social media, her usual escape mechanism, but today it brings her absolutely no joy or distraction. Every post seems irritating, hollow, or pointless. The vibrant colors of her own room seem muted and gray to her now, filtered through the darkening lens of her spiritual heaviness. She feels deeply disconnected from herself, from the cheerful, outgoing person she knows herself to be. The immense weight of her accumulated Gheebah is actively sapping her energy and dimming her inner light. She is literally parrying the heavy burden of other people's honor that she has violated with her loose tongue, and it is crushing her spirit. Hana is at the university library a few days later, walking distractedly towards a study table. Suddenly, she comes face to face unexpectedly with Lila, the very subject of her recent intense gossip. Lila stops dead in her tracks, her eyes meeting Hana's directly. There is no anger or confrontation in Lila's gaze, only a deep, profound hurt, sadness, and disappointment. It's a look of betrayal that pierces right through Hana's social facade to her core. For a fleeting, terrifying moment, Hana sees a flash of the dark, oppressive shadow that had been hovering over Lila in the vision, now reflected clearly in the depths of Lila's sad eyes. Hana freezes completely, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. The invisible weight on her shoulders feels suddenly significantly heavier, almost crushing her physically. She desperately wants to look away, to escape the situation, but she is held fast by the silent, devastating accusation in Lila's gentle eyes. In that instant, the abstract fun of gossip evaporates, becoming a concrete, sickening reality of pain caused to another human being. The realization hits Hana like a physical blow to the gut. She finally sees the human cost of her careless words. Lila walks past her slowly, without saying a single word, leaving Hana standing there, shaken to her foundation, the weight of her actions now undeniably real and present. Hana rushes in a panic to the nearest campus restroom, desperate to escape the public eye and compose herself. She bursts through the door, locks it, and leans heavily over the sink, splashing cold water repeatedly on her burning face. Breathing heavily, she slowly lifts her dripping head to look into the large mirror above the basin. What she sees makes her gasp aloud in absolute horror and disbelief. The reflection shows not just her tired, anxious face, but the horrifying reality of her spiritual state. The thick, dark, soot-like mantle of smoke is clearly, undeniably visible, draped heavily over her shoulders and chest, pulsing with a slow, sickly, negative energy. More terrifyingly, as she opens her mouth to breathe in shock, she sees faint, ugly wisps of the same dark smoke still curling from her lips like residual poison. Her beautiful golden amber hijab is stained, shadowed, and dulled by the dark burden it bears. The vibrant drama palette of her life has turned into a nightmare of dark, oppressive tones. She stares at herself, wide-eyed with shock, revulsion, and self-disgust, finally seeing the true, ugly form of the sin she has been nurturing. The invisible has become undeniably, terrifyingly visible to her. That night, Hana is in her bedroom, completely enveloped in darkness, except for the faint glow of a single small bedside lamp. She is sitting slumped on her prayer mat, not in formal prayer posture, but in a state of utter emotional and spiritual brokenness. Her head is buried deeply in her hands, and her entire frame is shaking violently with uncontrollable, racking sobs. The dark mantle of sin is still heavily upon her, but it seems slightly less dense now, as if the sheer force of her tears is beginning to dissolve its structure. Hot tears of genuine, agonizing remorse stream down her cheeks, washing away the facade of indifference and social performance. She is pouring out her heart completely to Allah, confessing her ugly sin of Gheebah without reservation, acknowledging the pain she has caused Layla and others, and begging desperately for forgiveness and mercy. Her heart feels like it is literally breaking under the crushing weight of her realized guilt. The room is filled only with the raw sound of her weeping, an honest plea for divine help. The midnight blue shadows of the room are thick, but a very faint, soft, warm golden glow begins to emanate subtly from her tear-stained face, symbolizing the beginning of her spiritual cleansing through sincere repentance. The next morning, Hana sits quietly by her bedroom window, the early morning light filtering in softly. Her face is swollen and marked from hours of crying, but there is a new, profound calmness in her eyes that wasn't there before. The dark mantle on her shoulders has visibly thinned overnight. It is now more like a translucent gray mist than heavy, opaque soot. She is holding her wooden tasbih, prayer beads, tightly in one hand, grounding herself. With the other hand, she gently but firmly presses her fingers to her lips in a deliberate, symbolic gesture of silence and restraint. It is a solemn, unbreakable vow to herself and to Allah to guard her tongue rigorously from this day forward. She realizes now that her words have immense power to heal or to harm, and she must use that power with extreme wisdom. She makes a firm, conscious intention to think deeply before she speaks, to always ask herself the three questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If not, silence will be her shield. The atmosphere in the room is quiet, contemplative, and sacred. The golden amber color of her hijab seems to be slowly regaining its warmth, catching the fresh morning light, symbolizing the hope of a fresh start and the purifying power of Tawbah. Later that day, Hana gathers every ounce of her courage and approaches Layla on a quiet part of the campus grounds. The setting is a secluded garden bench, away from the prying eyes of the crowds. Hana's posture is incredibly humble, her shoulders slightly slumped, not with the weight of sin, but with genuine contrition. Her eyes meet Lila's with absolute sincerity. She speaks with great difficulty, her voice trembling slightly with emotion, as she offers a heartfelt, unequivocal, and specific apology to Lila for backbiting her. She doesn't make excuses, minimize her actions, or shift blame. She simply owns her mistake fully and asks for Lila's forgiveness. Lila listens quietly, her guarded expression slowly softening as she sees and feels the depth of Hana's genuine remorse. After a tense, breathless moment, Lila nods slowly, with tears in her own eyes, and speaks words of forgiveness. As the words, "I forgive you," are spoken, a miraculous change occurs visibly. The remaining gray mist on Hana's shoulders evaporates completely, instantly, as if dissolved by a powerful, unseen light. Hana feels an immediate, immense sense of physical and spiritual relief, as if a crushing mountain has been lifted from her being. Tears of sheer gratitude well up in her eyes. The air between them feels suddenly clear, light, and pure. Hana stands alone in the garden a moment later, after Lila has left with a peaceful smile. Hana takes a deep, shuddering breath, filling her lungs with air that feels cleaner than it has in weeks. She looks up at the vast blue sky, her face suddenly radiant with a profound sense of peace, cleansing, and liberation. The dark burden is completely, totally gone without a trace. Instead, a beautiful, warm, brilliant, divine light begins to shine down upon her from the heavens and simultaneously radiate from within her own heart. It envelops her whole being in a comforting embrace, making her golden amber hijab glow with an ethereal, almost celestial brightness. The vibrant drama palette of her life is transformed back into one of pure, clear, celestial light and warmth. She feels squeaky clean internally, purified, and deeply, safely connected to Allah's infinite mercy once again. The world around her looks brighter, the colors more vivid and sharp. She feels a renewed sense of purpose and a deep, humbling gratitude for the second chance she has been graciously given. The silence inside her is no longer heavy or anxious. It is a peaceful, sacred stillness filled with God's presence. She is finally free from the crushing weight of her whispers. A final, harmonious composition shows Hana back with her friends in the same bustling cafe from the beginning of the story. The atmosphere is joyful and vibrant again, but there is a noticeable, profound change in Hana's demeanor. She is still smiling, warm, and engaged, but her presence is more thoughtful, grounded, and mindful. She listens actively much more than she speaks, nodding with genuine interest. When she does contribute to the conversation, her words are carefully chosen. They are positive, encouraging, constructive, or humorous in a kind way. The dark smoke is nowhere to be seen, not even a wisp. Instead, faint, beautiful, tiny golden light particles seem to sparkle subtly around her face when she speaks, symbolizing the positive, healing energy of her new speech habits. Her friends seem even more comfortable, trusting, and truly happy around this new, uplifting version of Hana, sensing the change in her energy. The composition is balanced, harmonious, and bathed in warm, natural sunlight, representing a life lived with integrity, mindfulness, and spiritual awareness. It's a picture of true, sustainable joy that doesn't come at the expense of others' honor. Hana looks directly into the camera lens, her expression serious, yet incredibly kind and approachable, her eyes sparkling with wisdom born of a difficult experience. We often think our whispers just vanish into the air, harmless and forgotten, she says, gently but firmly. But they don't. They are heavy things. They settle on our own souls like soot, and they travel to wound the hearts of others, even from afar. Gossip is a fire that burns both the speaker and a one spoken about. She pauses, letting the weight of the words sink in for the viewer. Your tongue is one of your most powerful tools. Use it to build others up, not to tear their honor down. Use it for dhikr, for kindness, for truth, and for healing. Before you speak about someone who isn't present to defend themselves, ask yourself the 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If not, let silence be your shield and your worship. Guard your tongue rigorously, and you guard your soul from a heavy burden. The fleeting thrill of whispers is never worth the weight you have to carry.